Call the library for planning and zoning commission in the order. From the pledge of allegiance.
United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners Anderson and Smithwick Ailey have excused absences. Commissioner Topfest.
Here.
Oh, Charlene, we couldn't hear you. I know
I'm
you-
here. Can you hear me?
Let me see on my end if I have something wrong. Sorry.
I'm here.
Oh, we can hear you. That was my fault.
Okay.
Thank
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Yep. Commissioner Turner,
Here.
Commissioner Burton,
Here.
Commissioner Murray,
Here.
and Chair Vadla.
Here,
You have a quorum.
thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda? Any objections to approving the agenda? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. And for the minutes of our last meeting, June 5th, any objections? Are there any changes to the minutes? Objections to approving the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes of the June 5th meeting are approved. Now moving on to public hearings, resolution PZ 2024-011, recommending that tract A1 of the Blasey Park subdivision number 3 be rezoned from single family, two family to multifamily on the official zoning map. Can we please have the staff report?
You want to have a motion to approve prior to the?
Yeah, can I move to approve?
I move to approve resolution PZ 2024-011. Recommendation that tract A1 of the Blasey Park subdivision number 3 be rezoned from single family, two family to multifamily on the official zoning map.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, now can we have the staff report?
Thank you. So just a couple preliminary comments, because we do have a large number of folks in the audience today. The Planning Commission before you is going to provide a recommendation on this rezone to the Soldotna City Council. The Planning and Zoning Commission is not the decision body in this because this is a legislative matter. They just provide a recommendation to the council. So the council will, or I should say this ordinance will be presented and introduced to the council on July 24th. A public hearing will not be held at that time, but one will be held on August 28th. So if you would like to continue to participate in the discussion on this item, August 28th would be the date that you'd want to circle on your calendar. Also, one other item is just that after I give the staff report, the chair is going to open it up for public comment, and you'll have an opportunity to speak. We're going to ask you to come up and speak into the microphone. You'll have 3 minutes, and the chair will direct the public hearing at that point. So thank you. So this proposed rezone is requested by Jeffrey Dolivka representing Dolroco LLC. They are the sole owner of the area to be rezoned. It's a single parcel. And Mr. Dolivka has authorization to act on behalf of the LLC. This parcel is currently split zoned with a portion of it being single family and then a smaller portion being zoned multifamily. The rezone would create a parcel that would make it completely multifamily residential. Could you show the map, Jen, on, it's the very first map, figure 1. I just want to give everybody an idea of the location. If you're not familiar with it, it is on the east side of Kobuk Street near the wastewater treatment facility on one side and the Rural Cap Homes to the south, and of course Stacy Avenue to the north. The rezone area is 9.54 acres. The total lot is about 10.6 acres. When we look at rezones, we do a code analysis, and because this is being proposed to be rezoned into the multifamily zoning district, we'll be looking at that zoning district. The intent of the multifamily residential district is to provide for stable residential development for a range of housing densities and other uses which are both compatible with the residential character and provide for areas of transition between commercial and industrial land uses and lower density residential uses. So this, as the chart up on the screen show, both what is currently the existing zoning, the single family, two family, and its requirements, and then it also shows the multifamily proposed zoning. And in most cases, the things are very similar. The major differences are there's slightly larger minimum lot width for the multifamily, and building height is increased from 36 feet to 48 feet. The setbacks are also slightly different on the side yards. The section of Soldotna Municipal Code that deals with rezones is Section 435, and it governs amendments to the official zoning map. It requires petitions that are initiated by individuals be signed by a majority of the property owners of the area to be rezoned. And because Doloroco owns the parcel that is going to be rezoned, the only petition or petitioner that we need to have a signature from is from them, and we have that. So that portion of the zoning code is satisfied. This Soldotna Municipal Code also requires that amendments to the zoning map may only be considered if the property is to be rezoned as a minimum of 2 acres or that it enlarges in an existing boundary. In this case, the proposed rezoning request is well over the 2 acre minimum, and it also enlarges the neighboring multifamily district. So the basic standards of the zoning code are met under this petition for a rezone. One of the other things that we look at when we look at rezones is the planning documents. And we look at a number of different planning documents when we do this. So the first one that we took a look at was the generalized future land use map, which is within the comprehensive plan. It does show this parcel as urban residential zoning. And the urban residential zoning is intended to reflect residential development in the core areas of town where each structure contains primarily a one-family unit. The primary use is single-family dwellings. A characteristic of this classification is that residential residential is the primary use, smaller minimum lot sizes, that there's an availability of neighborhood parks, paved streets, sidewalks, and city water and sewer. The generalized future land use map also shows multifamily residential land classification, but this parcel is not identified as such. Goal 6 of the general land use section is to continue to monitor available land supply, and evaluate the need for land of different zoning designations. The next plan that we looked at is the Soldotna Riverfront Redevelopment Plan. Within it, it states that rising housing costs affect not only Soldotna, but also the broader Central Peninsula region. Instead of being a localized challenge, unaffordable home prices and rents reflect regional economic shifts in housing oversupply. The parcel before the commission could provide higher density housing, and the development could help with local housing undersupply. Additionally, the Riverfront Plan highlights having adequate housing for employees and operators of retail, dining, and entertainment establishments within the city. Housing that is a short walk or bike ride to businesses and services is especially attractive. With new population growth that may drive demand for both ownership and rental housing, having a higher density housing as proposed before the commission would provide increased opportunity to develop housing stock in the city that has the benefit of being a walkable distance to businesses and services. So to sum things up, the applicants requested a rezone is consistent with Goal 6 in the generalized land use plan. And again, Goal 6 was the the one that identified that we should continue to monitor available land supply and evaluate the need for different zoning designations. And with the recommendations presented in the Riverfront redevelopment plan, but it is inconsistent with the future land use map in the comprehensive plan. So in accordance with Soldotna Municipal Code, the city did mail 71 notices to property owners within 300 feet of the proposed development. As of today's date, we had 7 comments that have been received from the notified property owners. The comments are included in the packet or are laid down before the commission. We also received a petition that was circulated by members in the community. There are approximately 40 signatures on that petition, and that too is included in your packet materials. We also send these applications out to our department heads within the city to get their feedback and comments. Our utility director, his only comment was that future development will require that all lots be serviced with city water and sewer. And our building official commented that any apartment building over 4 units in a multifamily zoning district will require a fire suppression system. So as noted previously, the proposed rezone is consistent with some portions of Soldotna planning documents and inconsistent with others. These documents can provide findings to either support or deny the rezoning request. Additionally, this parcel is currently split zoned. Split zoning is generally not preferred due to the potential issues it causes when the parcel is developed and permits are adjudicated. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommend approval to the council. Our recommendation is based on the current need for additional housing and the fact that this parcel meets the basic standards for rezoning under Soldotna Municipal Code. The resolution before you was prepared for a use and recommends approval of the rezone to the City Council. A yes vote would recommend approval for the rezoning, and a no vote would recommend denial of the rezoning. That's the end of the staff report.
Thank you. All right, the public hearing is now opened. If there's any member of the public who wishes to speak on this item, please come on up and have a seat in the chair. Press the button until the green light comes on and state your name and address for the record, please. No, just Charlene. There's no one else. There may be someone else. Okay.
You want me?
That's okay for
Well,
everybody.
that's fine. I have 2 phone numbers real quick. I have a 312-415-0258. You know if that's Cooley, or is he a 907-513? I will allow them to talk. Go ahead.
Cool.
And if you'll turn on the microphone.
On? All right, Jeff DeLivka, 33850 Winston Circle, Soldotna, Alaska, 99669. So I brought the application forward. We and some partners do own that parcel here in Soldotna, purchased it a few years ago. I also brought the plan for the project today. And you guys are gonna be very excited. There's a lot of people telling us what we're gonna do with it, and it's pretty descriptive of what our plan is currently. AKA, we don't have one. There's been absolutely no decisions made on this property. There's a lot of rumors circulating around there about 24 plex, $10 million units or whatever it is. There's no decision making whatsoever. We approached the city and again, have been kind of, when we first purchased it, just really didn't know what we wanted to do with it, but we wanted to maximize it for the city. If you know who I am, that's been a big priority for me of, again, improving the city that I live in. And so we had lots of good discussions, kind of what's the best use for this property. It kind of went away. Been a few years since we, again, purchased it. Kind of came back up. We're like, well, let's start to think about what we want to do with it. And so we submitted this application. The reason we did that was we were just trying to look for the maximum flexibility to kind of meet the needs of the city. City of Soldotna is growing. And so we're like, well, what's the best way to be able to, again, start a plan? We need to know what it's zoned as. I'm kind of ambivalent as far as if you deny this or not. I'm not going to be mad at anyone in here, or there's no hard feelings. If the application's denied, it kind of makes the development a lot easier. You're going to end up with 40 to 50 residential lots, which means 40 to 50 houses or 80 duplexes. If that's what you all think the city of Salida needs, is again, more residential, single family homes, that's fine. I mean, that's pretty much the one outcome with this, given the upfront costs to develop this property. You're talking millions to put in, you know, the roads, the utilities, everything. So we very limited. It's not going to be 1 acre lots. The numbers just aren't going to work. So that's where it will head. And again, no hard feelings. Mr. Rozak's sitting here. I'm sure he's happy to get his equipment out there and get rolling. But to me, that's a huge waste of this property. And a huge miss for the opportunity for the city of Soldotna. With everything that's coming, all the positive things, the growth, this is unique. It's the last big chunk, and within walking distance and riding distance of all your downtown, all your plans. There's so many cool opportunities. And again, to be frank, like if there's someone you want to be sitting across from in a development and discussion process, it's me. And I mean that honestly. The amount of time and effort I put into the city, I'm going to be the most understanding. And so anyways, there's that part. In my opinion, the city has plenty of single family developments. You know, another clear cut subdivision with 50 houses. Again, that would be kind of disappointing to me. The other kind of, I guess, I think misleading thing with this petition that was circulated, this property is already split zoned. We can go and put apartments on one end of that. So that was a little bit misleading that this is just a yes, no. No, we already can put apartments on one end of that. So that part's there. As far as the 240 apartment complex, if you can find someone that will inject that much cash into the city of Soldotna, you should do it. I'm roughly $50 million short this week, though, to be able to do anything of the scale of a 24-plex apartment building. And I know this could get sold, so you want to be watching out for future as far as that goes. In some, I feel the development of this property is going to require maximum flexibility. There's a lot of litany of needs, of wants, the city, the neighbors, future generations, developers. And that's why we brought it forward. It is maximum development. There's going to be lots of discussions with the city. You guys saw there's all kinds of city inspections. There's going to be utilities. We're going to need a lot of help. We had talked about green spaces, bike paths, all kinds of cool things. But again, it's going to be pretty limited if it's just single family, and you can already kind of see the outcome of where that's going to go. So that's why I brought it forward. Again, no hard feelings if the city feels that's the best use of this property, and we'll continue on and we'll get things rolling the other direction. So it just kind of answers the question for us of what the city wants for that property. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. We want to give the folks online a chance.
Is there anyone on Zoom who would like to talk?
If you're on Zoom, please just raise your hand if you'd like to comment, or you can press *9 on your phone. Technology. So helpful.
There is some, okay.
But-
I'm gonna. I see somebody has their hand raised. Let me see if the best way to.
Hi, good evening.
Thanks.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, this is Josh Cooley. I'm very sorry that I could not be there in person with you all. But I just want to second what Jeff has said. I'm not going to say it better than what Jeff has said. But what I do want to say is, you know, I think that if the council goes with the staff proposal here, what this allows us to do is to develop a cohesive plan for these lots. It allows us to address the housing shortage, and greater density within structures allows for less space occupied by structures, which allows for greater green space and more flexibility with the lot. I think there's a lot to be said for allowing for that sort of cohesive design and planning. And that's something that we're interested in doing. And, you know, as Jeff said, we don't have a plan right now. And I'm sure, you know, it's become clear that that has made some people a bit nervous. But what we would like to be able to do is to put the money into developing a plan with some certainty as to what the zoning is. And what we envision is something that allows for great green space, that allows to preserve the natural aesthetic and quality of the existing lot, while also providing housing for teachers, nurses, retail, people that can ride their bike right into town. It's so proximate to downtown. You also, with an apartment situation or multifamily, you have cohesive management. And so I know that there's concerns about, you know, who is going to live here and what are we going to do if they're causing problems, making noise. Well, certainly in a single owner of that has greater resources and greater accountability to neighbors if there are issues. They also have an absolute desire themselves to resolve that because it's in a financial interest. And so I think that's also very important. And so what I'll say in closing is I would ask you to support this. I think it's the highest and best use for this property. I know people are concerned about this, but our intention is to design it in a way that fits the existing space and that fits the existing neighborhood and that is a good fit for Soldotna. So I'd ask you to support it, and that's all the comments that I have.
Thank you. There's one other person on the phone. Are they waiting to speak?
Absolutely. The person with an area code of 312, if you'd like to speak, I gave you permissions to.
And that's okay. If there's anybody else who would like to come up and speak, please do so. We appreciate everybody who joins this meeting in person and on the phone and however you can.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Pam Hayes. Thank you too for your work on this commission. I really appreciate it. I'm basically just going to kind of summarize my letter, which I had in the packet there. My first concern that I talked about was safety. If you stand and I walk in that area, I live next door at on 235 Stacy Drive. Did I say my last name? Pam Hayes? Oh, okay. So I walk there a lot. And if you stand in that entrance looking out to Kobuk, the curb cut there in Kobuk where people would exit from that tract, to the right is a hill that limits visibility, and to the left is a sharp curve that limits visibility. So I'm concerned about the amount of traffic going through there. There are frequently police officers sitting there, I think because of the potential for accidents, and then also people's speed coming down the hill and going around the curve. The other, well, and I have to say, I realize that with single and two family housing, there will be more traffic, but I'm just anticipating that with apartment buildings, there'd be even more. My second concern is the impact that it would have on the area itself. That tract A1 is currently a haven for moose. We live on a lot. We don't have a dog, and the two lots on either side, one's vacant and one's Lucas's, and none of us, there are no dogs in those three lots. And so the moose every year, since we've been there for 5.5 years, come up from those woods with a calf. And last year, the 2 years before, we watched a cow born in our backyard. This year, we've already had one moose cow come up with a calf, and then about a month later, another cow come up with twins. So we know they're different moose too. I realize again that building single and two family houses will eliminate that refuge, but I'm anticipating that apartment buildings will really knock out even more of the green space for birds and butterflies and other small mammals. The last thing I want to ask is that even if single and two family residences are built there, I hope that you'll require that sidewalks and yards and trees be included. So if you look at the I think it's called the Legacy Development on the other side of us on Stacy. Those things were not put in. And you can see they mostly just leveled the trees. It was a gorgeous birch stand before. They leveled the trees, left a few sticking up here and there, but they didn't put in driveways for people and they put in no sidewalks. And our Stacy Drive is a cul-de-sac, so people frequently come to our area just because it's a cul-de-sac just to walk, but we all walk in the street. People come with strollers. There are individuals on our street that have little kids, that little kids ride their bikes and strollers, but people come from other neighborhoods too. And they also do in the adjacent Legacy where there are no sidewalks. I really see that as a big safety issue. And it seems to be true of most of the areas around there, except for the street, the arterials, and then a couple of streets near the schools down off of Redoubt. So I'm glad to hear tonight from Jeff and Josh Cooley that the owners are interested in keeping more green space there. But I'm concerned then that they still could sell it to someone else who doesn't care that much. So that's my input. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak on this item?
Barry Corsetti, 249 Stacy Drive. Yeah, I appreciate hearing the current owners and what their ideas are on development. We really have a special neighborhood, and my concern is if you increase I mean, I know it's not going to stay a vacant lot. Personally, sorry neighbors, I don't care about the moose. I've had trouble beyond troubles with the moose but there are a lot of wildlife in that area. What I would comment on is all the congestion. During commute times, we have schools, we have hospitals down Kobuk. We often can't get out of our neighborhood without waiting for several cars to go past, and visibility is limited even coming out of our drive. So that will be a future concern if we put 200 people living in there or whatever, that the city would definitely have to develop or be concerned with. We also have little kids crossing Kobuk going to school. I have my grandchildren coming to visit because they live on the other side of Kobuk, and they're 6'3" and 6 months old, so they're on the little bikes and strollers. So it's always a concern when they leave my house. Are they going to get across Kobuk? Sure, they're with their mom, but they're free spirits. So we do have those concerns. My other concern is whatever is built back there, increasing the height of the buildings could have a major impact. We all live on a little bluff there, so we would be above whatever is down there and be looking at either rooftops or looking in somebody's windows if you're building something super high. We all really enjoy that neighborhood. We bought it knowing full well what it was zoned. I bought in there 10 years ago. Jeff and his partners bought it knowing what it was zoned also. So in the past 10 years, there's been 56 homes built in that area, all sold, and some have been resold. So there's money to be made there, of course. I don't know if this is just an economic decision or best for the city decision that you guys are going to be making. But I would like to, see a peaceful neighborhood forever. So I appreciate your work on this.
Thank you.
My name's Bob McCard, and I live at 235 Stacy Drive. Pam's my wife, and I mainly appreciate what Jeff had to say tonight. And one of my concerns is what Perry said, it's kind of the quality of life. I think when you get concentrations in housing, you're going to get a lot more noise and dogs barking and everything else. So it might be beneficial for more residential housing, but then how does it affect the surrounding area? The other area that I talked about that Pam expressed is the safety on Cobuck. It's particularly on busy times of the day, it's a main route to the schools, the doctors, the hospitals. So does it mean that somewhere along the line, you're going to need a traffic light down there or something to control the traffic? The other thing that I would add is with single family or two family residential, you have an opportunity for ownership, individual ownerships versus fourplexes or whatever's going to be put in, where it's mainly the landlord's ownership. And I think that would contribute to the community and stuff is where people can have ownership rather than renting. And that's basically all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Bill Cogdill. I live at 275 South Cobuck Street, right across from the corner of Tract A1. First of all, full disclosure, Josh Cooley and Katie Elsner, two of the owners, are my clients. I'm a CPA. Their office is right next to me in Kenai. We've known each other a long time. They're great guys, great people. Jeff is also my attorney, which was wedding. He's my friend. This makes this very difficult because these people, I don't know the Rozaks. I knew the elder Rozak. Yeah, but I'm sure he's a good guy too, if Jeff knows it. So these are really good people. If we were to do something for those people, that would be wonderful, but we're not doing that. We're doing something to this land. Jeff's already commented that it's going to take a lot of money. So someone's got to have a deep pocket or deep credit to be able to do a lot of this stuff. They already own the lot on the end, which is small, and it is already zoned for multifamily. They can do that now. And not with millions of dollars. They have access. I mean, it's not that expensive. I did like the fact that Josh said that he would try to preserve green space. There's a better way to do that. I'm not going to go, I don't have the time to read through my letter, but you know, all of us that live there, I've lived there for 45 years. You know, my house is at the location of Marvin Smith's homestead cabin, and it was my kitchen until 5 years ago. And when that finally had to take that out, I still have some of those logs though, if anybody's collecting them. But anyway, this is a great place to live. Moved from Anchorage, came down here with the idea that I'm not going to move. I was a military brat all my life. When I decided that when I found a place to live, I'm going to stay there. It's a legacy house for me. I don't care what the market value is because I'm not going to sell it. However, I think there's a better thing to do with this property. Everybody's looking for the best use of it. If you look at the map behind Caitlin there, you will be able to tell that the only green spot that's in the southeast corner of the city of Soldotna metro part on the north side of the river is this spot. There isn't any other green areas in there. It's a very useful area. I talked to two biologists. I talked to a biologist at the Wildlife Refuge, Todd Eskelin. He's a great biologist, knows a lot about moose, way more than anybody I know. And I also talked to a guy over at the State Fish and Wildlife. They both are concerned and know about how to manage ideas, how to manage urban moose. There's urban moose, there's non-urban moose, and there's moose that migrate between. The only moose they really know exactly where they went are collared moose. They collared moose in Ski Lac Loop Road area that stay there all year long, winter, summer, stay there all the time, except when they calve. And they go all the way in the Kiski, they dive all the way to the Kiski, swim out to an island on a lake out there, I don't know what lake, and calve. And because it's protected. The reason they come into the city of Soldotna, because we have animal control. We don't have loose dogs. Loose dogs are a real problem for moose and coyotes and bears and everything else. But that's a protected area. And it's also home to other wildlife, birds. I think somebody said there was an eagle's nest in that area. I didn't know that because it's dense. It's really thick woods. And it's probably the only spot in that part of town that's left that way. I don't want my friends and clients to lose money. I mean, they've invested in this. They've invested quite a bit of money for them. It's not millions, but it's hundreds of thousands, I think. I don't know what they paid for it, but I don't want them to lose money. I would like to have another option explored. And that exploration, I would envision, would take some representatives from the surrounding neighborhoods. You can pick and choose from this Soldotna planning to come up with any answer you want. I know that John pointed out the ones that fit recommending this. You can turn to pages 30 and 31 and find out neighborhood goals, which this does not comply with. You can turn a few more pages to wildlife and habitat goals. This does not comply with that. So you can pick and choose in here. And the main document, though, is the future land use zoning map. That's supposed to go to 2030. This property, including the property that's already been zoned multifamily, is not included in that. It's in single, two-family area. But what I see is something that enhances all of us. It enhances all of the people that live in this neighborhood. And also provides for the investors to get a return or at least get their money back. I'm not sure what they'd want, but I don't see why we can't explore those. I don't see why we can't make this a really, really nice green space area, which would enhance the value and not just the economic value, but the quality of life value in Soldotna. No offense to these guys, but they don't live here. They don't vote here. They live outside the city, which is fine. No, they don't have to live in here, but they're not going to be hurt by this like all of the rest of us. We're going to be hurt by this. I got grandkids coming here in 4 days. I got kids coming and grandkids all the way through probably the end of July. Come up every year. It's their life. One of my wife's granddaughters, when they thought they might not be able to come because they was in the military and they were going to get transferred from West Point to El Paso, Texas. And my granddaughter told her mom, I can't not go to Alaska. That's where I have my birthday every year that I can remember. People, this is a great place, and you guys do a great job protecting us. And let's continue that. Let's form a committee that's with Jeff, with John and the planning staff and some of the members to come up with a way to do this. I can even see the kids that do the Kenai, what's that called? Caring for the Kenai program, exactly. Actually, I could see an enterprising young high school person to do some of the research for moose habitat, to come up with a contribution plan, a way to raise money to convert this property, to make my friends not lose money. I would be donating to it. I'm sure that there are sources, but I haven't had any time to look into this. I do know that some of my neighbors, like Tim Cashman, didn't get notified, and he owns a whole bunch of property right across that'd be the west end of Tract 1. He owns all kinds of stuff. I don't know why he wasn't notified, but he wasn't, and there must be a reason for that, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, I do have one more thing I want to say. I'm probably going over my time, but there was a lady in 1970 who wrote a song. The song's name is Big Yellow Taxi. It became the environmental movement anthem. It's been recorded by more than 400 singers and bands since then. One of the most recent versions was by the Counting Crows that became very popular, as well as her song, which rose to, I think, number 24 in the charts. Her name is Joni Mitchell. The song is known for, is known by its iconic lines. And I'm going to quote this one verse. Don't it seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. I want us to realize what we have before it's gone and not make the mistakes of the past that continue to be made. Anyway, I really appreciate listening to me. Thank you, but the thought of 48-foot tall buildings in there, if you drive by, it'll just make you sick. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to come up and speak?
My name is Gene Callis. My wife and I, Carol, we came back to Soldotna the second time, where we looked and hunted for a place to buy, to build. And the second time we came back, it was 45 years ago. And we came across Blasey Park. We liked what Blasey Park was, the single family dwelling primarily. And we also liked the covenants that went along with it, which are still there. Now, I'm a little concerned about the development of property if there's no plan in effect that people want to do with it. Now, I talked to someone that was knowledgeable in apartment buildings, and I learned, and I hope I got it right, is that on an acre, a 24-plex apartment can be constructed. Okay, now if you multiply that times 10, that's 24, that'd be 240 units. And I think the city with an apartment, they require a parking area for 2 vehicles. I'm not sure of that. However, if that's the case, well, you take that 240, you got 480 vehicles. 480 vehicles that would be converging into the Kobuk area. You got the 90-degree turn to the left. You got the significant hill to the right. You got the already existing traffic, which Kobuk is a main thoroughfare. Now, I could tell you this, that I'm a retired Alaska State Trooper. And of the 10 years of my career, I spent 10 years with statewide narcotics investigating drug trafficking. I can tell you that based on my experience, that dope dealers, they like apartments. They like something that they can go into, they can get out of it, they can the traffic that's involved in that. But they would rather do that than invest money into a home because they can't get out of it that easy. So you have to understand that how can you control the property, the apartment, the customers that come there that you would rather have somebody there long-term than creating a transient population. Of course, a lot of this has already been addressed. I have a problem personally, and like there's money to be made there, but it's not going to benefit me personally. And I guess I'm looking at it selfishly.
That was a very obnoxious timer, but it's just because I want everyone to have time.
All right.
You have 3 minutes,
I'm
but
real
yeah,
close.
yeah, thanks.
All right. And the other thing is as soon as the apartments go in there, my property value is going to plummet. And with that, my time is up.
Yeah.
And there's more to be said, but I won't.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to come up and speak to this item on the agenda? Turn down the obnoxious.
Well, I think I might have figured this out.
Okay, thanks.
No.
My name is Linda Lansing and I live at 199 Hillcrest. We have 5 lots there that 3 of them are on Rieger. So I take it that last lot there on that track A1 is the multifamily, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. That's an L right there. Lots of wrecks in the winter. People come down there about 40 miles an hour and go into the ditch. I'm concerned with the traffic. We've lived right there since 1995. We've seen the condos across the street go up. We've seen ACS go up. Now we're going to see the fire department build something and we're on a ridge, like they said, and we're looking right down. So I'm very concerned with the traffic, especially if they build, 2 or 3 floors of apartments. I just don't know what the city's going to have to come up with some plans for both ends, because Rieger and that fireweed is really bad too. And I don't think they just have one way to get out of there. They would have to make it all the way through. And then we talked about paving fireweed, and that's a very expensive thing for the city. So I think you told me that was kind of off the chart for right now. But my it's such a drag because we all live on that ridge and people don't realize unless you live on that ridge, what you see down below you. And we're about tree level with the city of Soldotna. And that's why I was really not happy about the fire department moving down below us, because I don't want to see a 90 parking spot lot out my windows that are floor length and that whole ridge. But traffic, it's going to be, I know we're growing and so forth, but a lot of us have lived here a long time. And, we've kind of stayed quiet about a lot of stuff that's going on, but Soldotna is just, we're losing trees left and right as it is. And now we're going to cut down a whole bunch to build. If it's apartments. I guess my 2 cents is that I disagree with the multifamily. I don't think that's a good spot for that many people in units like that. And I feel for the people on Stacy because I live on Rieger and I have that same problem. You're looking down at everything that's going to be built down there. And if it's higher than a single family home, which I guess they could do 2-story home if they wanted to, but it's just a little heartbreaking. And that's really all I wanted to say.
Is there anybody else who'd like to come up and make a comment for the record?
If I understand it correctly, you've already approved this to the. So is any decisions being made here, or is this already a rubber stamp going through?
No, we still have to vote on it tonight.
Okay.
Where this body will make a recommendation to the city council, and then they will make the decision, which is a legislative decision. And it will come before them twice, like John said. They'll first see it in July, and then they'll vote on it in August. And the public comment period will be in August, at the end of August. We're voting though tonight to make a recommendation.
Yeah, because I just had the impression reading this stuff, it was already rubber stamped.
Yeah,
and stuff.
no, it's
Okay.
not, no.
Thank you.
There's a lot more conversation to be had, and all of the comments that you've made are going on the record, and they will inform everybody who, has decision-making power.
Thank you.
Yep.
Be short. I kind of circulated a petition and talked to a lot of folks. And the letter that went out about this rezoning business, a lot of them never saw it. Or if they did, they didn't know they got it. Okay, I'm just saying that, so everybody that's on that list that's in here, they should have got a copy of that letter, the rezoning letter.
Yeah, it went out to this list, which is,
That,
yep. Yeah,
So
everybody
all
within
these folks
300 feet.
got one, because the people down on South Kobuck, in the lower income homes down there, I think there was one person that said they got something.
Hmm.
And that was it. But just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's nobody else who wishes to speak in the room. Is there anybody on the phone that wishes to make a public comment? No, okay. And I don't want to assume it. I didn't see any hands, though. Is there anybody else who would like to make a comment? Okay. All right, with no one else wishing to speak, the public hearing is now closed. Are there any commissioner comments or questions for staff?
Commissioner Burton, I just have a really quick question that addresses some of the concerns many individuals have stated about the traffic going down Kobuck. Was that area, Kobuck, with the intersection of Stacy and the bottom of that hill, was that discussed in the workshop we had last month about safety and transportation, by any chance? Okay. I mean, that's perhaps something that can be mentioned for future use for that, that body, investigating all of that.
And through the chair, I can add that, again, there is no development plan for this and none is required for a rezone. Having no development plan, we wouldn't have any idea where access to or from this parcel would be granted. And so there are some obvious places, including off of South Fireweed, off of Schwankel Place and off of Kobuck. But an existing curb cut that is located near Porcupine Court wouldn't necessarily be a point of access. It certainly could be, but we would have some of the same concerns that have been raised by the members of the public about distances, site distances, proximity to other streets that are not directly across. So, you know, at the point where we get a development plan is where we take a look at some of those questions about transportation access and connectivity.
Thanks.
Madam Chair, I'll just clarify for those that were asking, is this a rubber stamp? Typically, when you're considering a resolution, it's placed in the affirmative and then the Planning and Zoning Commission vote yes or no. It's not placed in the negative because that's double negatives and et cetera. So it's purposely, you know, and staff's recommendation is there, but it's purposely in the positive. And then the Planning and Zoning Commission will make a judgment as to whether we think it should move, that our recommendation, what it is. Yeah.
I was just going by what's written.
Yeah, that they're purposely written that way.
Thanks. Just a question first for staff. When, for clarification for myself, when does the city require sidewalks for developments?
We don't have a set policy for when sidewalks are required.
Okay.
It really depends on the street type. And we have examples, as we discussed on the Cahill meeting last time, that different street types are going to have different infrastructure. And it depends on the need, what the existing uses are, opportunities to connect to existing routes, those types of things. As you know, in this area, there are a number of streets. Most of the streets don't have sidewalks with the exception of Riverside, one side of, what is it now? not Rieger, but Wilson, I think it is. But that's a question that we've been, at least from the planning department side, been pushing for more sidewalks, more amenities to move people along. But it is obviously more expensive to develop sidewalks, to develop lighting, to develop all of that, curb and gutter, all those things do cost money. And so it's, you know, it can be tough to make that all work, especially if it's on the city's dime. We have limited funds for those kinds of things, but to get back to your main question, we don't have a standard that says sidewalks shall go in if roads are developed within this tract.
But we do have like, as you discussed, many plans. We have the 2030 plan. We have the trails and roads. We have roads plan. So I suppose, yeah, we do have guidance. I just couldn't remember what those plans say specifically about when we're putting in a development like this and it's in a residential area. Yeah, so I would hope that yeah, I suppose it depends on. My parents live down West Riverview, and yeah, we there's a sidewalk actually up South Sterling, but only on one side. And so when we stroller the baby to the elementary school to play in the playground, we honestly sometimes walk in the street because the sidewalk is so narrow. And so it is like the nuance of this discussion of how to make roads and developments safest for people who use them, not just people who drive, but also people who, you know, are too young to drive or too old to drive. I think it's very worthy of a really good and comprehensive discussion. Yeah, it's not easy or clear cut.
Madam Chair,
If you wouldn't mind, you can, so we did close the public hearing. Yeah, yeah, go
My name is
ahead.
Jeff Bellamini. I reside at 534 Knoll Circle in Soldotna. I'm just wondering, during what part of the process do the developers put together a plan as to what they intend to construct
I mean,
on the site?
yeah, and just a quick answer. I mean, we don't require anybody to like submit a plan unless they're like going to build. So if they intend to build, they have to submit a plan to the city building inspector, and he has to approve it for the zoning district. But you know, when you buy a piece of property, you don't have to. It's not at this time, basically. So that's why his paper was blank when he said, "This is my plan," because I don't have one yet. And we don't require that of anyone who buys any properties, you or me or anybody at this point. That answers your question.
Thank you.
Yep.
Madam Chair, just a question for staff. So I'm looking at page 15, and I don't know if it's the same on your copy, but you were speaking about the access points, and it appears that there's, to me, off Kobuk, it's, you said Showwinkle? Swankle? Yeah, but that's not actually improved. That's just platted, correct?
That's correct.
So, but it does certainly address some of the issues brought up by the public tonight and adjacent property owners. That would appear to be the most logical place to have access, because it goes directly, it has visibility, and it dumps into Kobuk in the right place. So
It's right in the bottom, kind of right underneath the sea. Yeah, yeah. It's unimproved.
So, and I assume that it's a 60-foot easement or something, or do we know?
That's correct. It's a 60-foot right away.
Okay. So, you know, not that necessarily changes things radically, but it does address some of the issues raised tonight.
Are there any other commissioner comments or questions for staff? I did have just one comment about, I think maybe it's been many years, but other folks have commented on wildlife, using this as a corridor of their own. And it is in a city that's 7 square miles. We don't have a lot of land, and so every single piece is very valuable. And I wondered back then if the city would purchase this parcel and turn it into a green space. And it didn't. And so now here we are, and we can't change the past. But I think we can be hopeful that the developer, based on their word, is excited about a comprehensive design and something that is really well suited to the needs of the city. I know that ridge there is a really neat feature in the city, and that it almost creates its own buffer, in addition to the setbacks required by multifamily residential, which is greater than single family residential. That ridge, and I would imagine if they're going to do what they say they're going to do and hope to do, which is to keep more green space and fitting with the natural aesthetic of the property. I was just stealing your own words there. I think Jeff's words. And how greater density, if that's what they choose to do in terms of housing, which could be apartments or something totally different, or cottages, or shared walls, but also shared green space, that I think that would actually yield more green space for moose, or for buffer, or for bikeways, walkways. And I would hope that something like that is maintained in that parcel. It is a unique part of the city. So, and then my only other comment was, to echo that South Fireweed or Schwenkel are great access points. And to, again, recommend that whether it's sidewalks or something, that due thought is given to making this a safe development for walkers as well as drivers, and to folks who live there, but also who travel there from in the adjacent neighborhoods. And if no one else has any questions, I think it's time to call for the vote.
Commissioner Topest,
Sorry about that. I'm going to vote yes.
thank you. Commissioner Turner,
No.
Commissioner Burton,
Yes.
Commissioner Murray,
No.
and Chair Vadla.
I'm gonna vote yes.
Motion passed.
And I really appreciate everybody's comments tonight, and they will go on the record. And so our decision here tonight is a split, is not a unanimous vote, and that's clear to the city council, and so they'll see that. But it will be to recommend that it move forward. All right. And we're moving on now to public comments without prior notice. So if you want to say anything more, you're very welcome to now. And if there's anyone from the public who wishes to comment, please feel free.
I just want to, when Legacy Estates went in, that's a property on the other side of Stacy.
Would you mind? I'm sorry. It's only because for the record, we can't hear you unless you actually speak into a microphone. Yeah, thanks.
When Legacy Estates went in, Gene Callis,
Yeah, thank you.
279 Stacy Drive, that was all wooded like it is down in the tract that wants to be rezoned to, or the request to rezone it to multifamily. I can tell you that there would be a norm of at least 10 or 12 moose we've counted in there at that time. And however, there's only been 2 cows, 3 calves this year. And I think that I'd hate like heck to see it clear cut like Legacy was.
Mhm.
I don't know what happened there. I don't know if there's a city has anything to do with the number of fauna or the trees and things that should remain. But if there is, that didn't happen there, I'll tell you.
I can make just a quick comment. I think that we've updated our landscaping code since South Legacy went in, where we encourage people to retain native vegetation, and that accounts for more of the required landscaping if you retain some of the trees that are already there. So that's an attempt to encourage people to not clear cut for development.
The other thing is, I don't see many people walking or riding their bikes or, to work or shopping. Usually they're in a vehicle.
Mm.
And I have to say that, there's a lot of property on K Beach Road I noticed that is really, apartment worthy.
Mm.
So now we look at the aesthetics of what we got going, and I'll leave it at that, and thank you for your time.
Yep, appreciate your comment. Thank you. All right, is there any anyone else who wishes to make a comment? This is just a general comment without prior notice. All right, moving on to reports, Mayor and Council, we do have City Manager here too, so please come on up and.
Good evening. Jeanette Bauer, City Manager. I don't have a formal report other than to say that tonight is our Economic Development Director's last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. And Jen gave me a list of his employment, but of course I left it in my office. So John has been with us for a long time and we are really going to miss him. And I wanted to thank him for everything that he's done and wish him the best as he moves on to retired life. Thank you, John. Linda Mitchell will join us on staff, I think, on Monday, and there will be some time that she and John will work together to create a smooth transition. So, and she'll be at your next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. John, would you like to give your last report?
I would. So just a couple things. Your most recent decision on Cahill Lane, which was the storage yard, that is being appealed to the Board of Adjustment, which is our city council, which acts as the Board of Adjustment. An appeal was filed prior to the 14-day deadline. That appeal will be held by the board on July 24th. It'll be part of the regular meeting. If you have not been to an appeal of one of your decisions, I encourage you to attend. It's not something that you can speak at because it's entirely possible that the Board of Adjustment might remand the decision back to this body. So it's important that you can observe and take it all in, and I encourage you to do that, but you wouldn't be able to speak at it. So that's coming up. I also want to share with you that on recently, the Kenai Peninsula Borough Planning Commission did recommend approval of the riverfront plan to the Assembly. The Assembly is now going to consider that on July 9th, next Tuesday. And so with their approval, our riverfront plan becomes part of their master plan or their comprehensive plan. And again, it provides some additional leverage towards grants and other opportunities to make things happen. Also with regard to the riverfront plan, the city did hire Stephanie Queen Consulting. She will be our project coordinator for that effort. And we've already had one meeting. We'll continue to meet with her. We're also going to form an advisory committee. So that is rolling. Our next meeting is next week. And as City Manager Bauer indicated, Linda Mitchell, who is the current planning director in the city of Kenai, has been hired to be my replacement, and she will start on July 8th. And yeah, I look forward to working with her to hopefully answer her questions and provide any kind of information she needs to move things forward. But I think you'll be in good hands between her and Jen. Last, I just want to say thank you to the Planning Commission. I have always appreciated working with the commission and with anybody that volunteers to spend their evenings, their time working for their community and making the community a better place. So I really respect that, and I feel strongly about it. I come from a family that really was strong on community input, community actions, things that they could do to improve the place they live. So thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Jen, do you have any?
Yeah, I wanted to say thanks to John. Before he was the Director of Economic Development, he was a commissioner, and he started as a commissioner in 2005. And then he became the chair of the commission, and then eventually he became hired as staff. And so for almost 20 years, I mean, if you wanted to stay on another year, John, you can make it a full 20. For full 20 years, then as of next year when he stays on, yeah, it's a long legacy of public service. So thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Dennis, do you want to kick us off for commissioner comments?
Well, I just would say about John that he's a consummate professional. He always keeps an even keel in these debates, and gives the best information that we can possibly have. And it's always thorough, and Jen helps him, and we appreciate your work.
I echo that. Thank you, John. Yes, you will be missed. And I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, your comments. Thank you.
You're going to be greatly missed, John. You know, I think we've known each other for 18 years, 19 years. So very professional, and wish you were at least staying in the area.
Hey. Right. Yep.
Come full circle, come back on the commission.
That's right, back on the commission.
Charlene, would you like to make any comments?
Yeah, just good luck to you, John. It's great working with you, and have a great 4th of July, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, John, I've learned so much from working with you, and I've really appreciated working with you. I've been coming in. I encourage every other commissioner too, when you read through this and you have questions, head into the city hall, and the staff are so knowledgeable, and it really has helped me make better decisions and more informed decisions. And the staff do so much of the legwork, and just really appreciate all your legwork. We've done so much together, so many outdated codes, and you know, there's never any perfect decisions that get made, and especially in such a small city. But I really think that you've tirelessly worked toward making it as good as we can. So thank you, and enjoy your next chapter of life. Right. And thank you, everyone, tonight. Please stay involved, and bend the council's ear, and let them know your concerns. Really appreciate your time. And with that, our meeting is adjourned. Our next meeting will be August 7th, right here at 5:30. Thank you.